So we made it through what some call the darkest month of the year, February. But what has been happening in the real estate market? I'm going to be covering some of the key trends for your area, what that means for you, as well as digging a little bit further back and looking at some of the longer term trends. I'm going to explain why, but I think you're going to be surprised, so stay tuned. Hello, I'm Justin McClintock, sales representative for the Property Gallery Realty, and I'm happy to welcome you to this month's real estate market snapshot for the month of February 2018 for the areas of Beeton and Tottenham. Now, I was just previously mentioning that we're going to go a little bit further back in some of the longer term trends for the area. I think this is important to remember right now, especially because a lot of the sellers that I've been speaking with lately are a little disappointed in maybe the performance of the market, where it was last year compared to now. So I'm going to take us back a little bit further to this time 2016 to put it into perspective for people. I think you're going to be surprised because when we look at the numbers, even though we are still up from this time last year in most areas, when we take it back to 2016, the perspective really changes because we're noticing if you look at Tottenham across all of the housing segments, from townhomes all the way up to the 4-bedroom detached homes, we're seeing an average price growth of them all combined of about 60% over the last 2 years. So this is a massive growth. The market has stabilized, and I think we should be thankful for that because, it's just we were seeing a growth last spring that just wasn't sustainable. When we look at Beeton, we did see, we're from 2016 in February to now, we are up again on average about 12 to 35% again. So these are just massive returns. I think conservatively, when you're looking at returns in real estate, if you're looking at about 3 to 5% a year appreciation, you're doing very well. So these are just incredible returns on your investment. So hopefully that kind of relieves a little bit of the pressure or maybe misunderstanding that you've got of what's going on in the market right now. One of the other trends that I've been noticing is due to all the mortgage changes that we were talking about last month, the average buyer is typically affording about 15 to 20, anywhere from 15 to 20% less than they were this time last year. So what I'm noticing is this has had a bit of a trickle down effect, it seems, onto the lower tier segment of homes. So specifically homes that are under 600,000. I'm noticing a little bit increased activity in the buyers, not just because it is springtime and things are starting to heat up. It just seems like there are actually more buyers in this segment now, and I think that's because the lower price segment has always been desirable. You've always got your first time buyers, your investors, and now I think some of the people that were maybe in that mid range of affordability have kind of dropped a little bit more, adding a little bit more pressure to the lower segment. So we are still seeing multiple offers across multiple markets here in South Simcoe, Caledon, and Dufferin. So that being said, the homes that are showing well and priced well are selling quickly. There is a lot more competition coming on the market in terms of listings. So we're seeing a lot of conditional offers being accepted now, which is a big change from this time last year. That being said, there are still some good deals to be had out there by buyers for some of the properties that have been lingering on the market a little longer, that maybe aren't showing as well, could maybe use a little fixing up. So it's something to keep in mind. So let's jump into what's been going on in Tottenham over the month of February. Across all the housing segments, I did notice that the average prices were up, days on market are down, homes are typically selling for a little bit more money. When we jump into the townhome segment specifically, there was only one home sale. It was in the newer area, so something to keep in mind when we look at the average price of $520,000. It was selling in about 17 days, which is a little bit better than last month where it was 20, and a little bit more at 99% of the asking versus 98% last month. When we look at the semi-detached, the average price point was about $594,000. Selling for 97% of the asking price, which is actually a little bit less than it was last month. So, and the days on market for the semi-detached actually lingered a little bit longer through the month of February, with an average of 40 days on the market. Now, one of the biggest things we saw in Tottenham was a huge improvement in the days on market for the 3-bedroom detached segment. Last month, we were seeing about 81 days on average for the 3-bedroom homes to sell. This is dropped by more than half to about 12 days on the market right now for the 3-bedroom segment, which is great news. They are up to about selling for about 97% of the asking price versus 95% back in January. Now, the average price of the detached 3 bedrooms in Tottenham was about $605,000. So, lastly, we're looking at the 4-bedroom segment in Tottenham. They were another improvement with only 14 days on the market, selling for about 98% of the asking price and an average price of $760,000 approximately. Like I said, the overall year over year, all the segments in Tottenham are still showing price increases except for the 4-bedroom. The 4-bedroom is still down a little bit from this time last year, although I would expect to see that starting to recover now as the market's really starting to pick up in the heat of things here now that it's the spring market. So when we jump over to Beeton, there was actually no bungalow or split level home sales in Beeton, so inventory is low for those. If you've been thinking about getting your home up on the market, that specific segment didn't have a lot of inventory available. So there were a number of detached 2-story home sales in Beeton. So the average price point of those was about $543,000, selling for about 98% of the asking price. And again, we're seeing a big improvement in the days on market, selling in about half the time they were back in January, at about 28 days on the market. Now, there were finally some home sales in the 4-bedroom segment in Beeton, but they were lingering a little bit longer at 48 days on the market, selling for about 96% of the asking price, and $689,000 was about the average sale price of the 4 bedrooms in Beeton. So, that being said, keep in mind these numbers are for February this month. They do fluctuate a little bit. I think the important thing to watch is how much of the percentage of the homes are selling for their asking price, as well as the days on market. If there's anything else I can do, I'm here to serve and support in any way that I can. I've got lots of resources available for you. If you would like a detailed breakdown of where you might fit into the market at this time, feel free to give me a call anytime. My number is 519-217-2034. Also, follow along on social media. You can get all the latest updates. My Facebook page is Justin McClintock, the Property Gallery Realty. You can follow us on Instagram at Selling Headwaters. Also, you can get access to all the newest listings as soon as they become available. Our site updates multiple times a day, so you're always on top of what's going on in your area, anything you might be interested in. So check that out at www.justinmcclintock.ca. I want to thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next month.